Hey there, John O'Manson here. I am a musician and producer, and I live in Santa Fe. In fact, I have made northern New Mexico my home for the last 30 years. So I am once again extremely happy to be taking part in this event to raise not only funds for, but awareness about all the great work that the Santa Fe Conservation Trust does to protect, preserve, and conserve our precious natural landscape, and to remind us every day that we must live in harmony with nature. So thank you for all the work that you continue to do.
Hi, my name is Natanya Manson. Thank you for supporting the Santa Fe Conservation Trust. Now, here's my dad singing his new song, Timberline.
Up above the timberline, past the service roads and abandoned mines, beyond the brush and the columbine, high above the timberline. The air is thin but sweet and clear, between the earth and the stratosphere, but it's a long way up to there from here, high above the timberline. And way above the works of men, the black crow sings her medicine. She circles round and then she flies out of sight through the fading light. The mountain holds each memory from the bottom of an ancient sea to the moonrise over centuries, high above the timberline. When time runs down to last goodbyes, with open arms and open eyes, shining bright, we all shall rise, high above the timberline. Shining bright, we all shall rise, high above the timberline. Lara Monzanares is a bilingual singer-songwriter with deep roots in northern New Mexico. In addition to singing the traditional songs of her sheep ranching childhood, she has developed her own unique style of singing and storytelling through music. In 2018, she took away the Best Album honors at the New Mexico Music Awards for her album Land Baby, which I had the pleasure of recording, mixing, and producing at my studio here in Santa Fe. This evening, Lara sings her original composition, Margaret's Dream.
Hi, my name is Lara Monzanares, and this song is called Margaret's Dream.
So the toucans can take flight, circle in the moon with a quetzaltail on fire. No tender returns in a snowstorm of desire. 2 hours past midnight and one more to the state line. The road over the pass is steep and frozen in time. Says I know just where I'm going, and that's where I'm supposed to be. Far away from Cleveland and the arms that won't hold me. The adobe house was waiting with her heartbeats in the walls, a safe place to land and begin to make some calls. She says sometimes it can be rough living out here all alone, but helping hands ain't hard to find. I'm never on my own. Sunday morning sun shines on the faithful saying mass in a corridor of canyons where the ancient ones still pass. The light of El Farolito lets you know you'll be there soon, where the rustling of feathers echoes in a magic room. And here you go. Fly to can fly to El Rito. Fly to can fly to El Rito.
Jamie Michaels is an acclaimed singer-songwriter who has toured the world sharing his music. He's made his home here in Santa Fe, New Mexico for well over 20 years, and I've had the pleasure of working with him on numerous projects. Here he is singing his song, Angelus.
Like the flowing of a river, when a river gets to run, I will find my way to deep water, and I will hardly worry. I think I've seen enough. How you fill your heart, well, that's all that matters. Times will get better, better may get bad. Bad may be the best thing you got going. It's like God looks at all your plans. God gets a great big laugh. He hands you the ball and says, let's see your big move. I'll take your best shot. How big is your heart? Like the whispers in the branches at the dawning of the light, I will cross these hills and chase the shadows. And I will hardly worry, it's just today, and that's alright. How you fill your heart, well, that's all you can know. Times will get better, better may get bad. Bad may be the best thing you've got going. It's like God looks at all your plans. God gets a great big laugh. He starts spinning his wheel and saying, oh man, that's not what I'm doing. I am so much wiser, older and wiser. Ooh. Now I may not be the wisest one, but I'll be laughing when I'm done. When I'm done, I hope to find that I was right when I was kind. I may not be the wisest one, but I'll be laughing when I'm done. When I'm done, I hope to find that I was right when I was kind. I may not be the wisest one, but I'll be laughing when I'm done. When I'm done, I hope to find that I was right when I was kind.
Next up, we have another duo of talented local musicians, Elena Higgins and Tash Terry from the band Indici Femme. They're here to perform their beautiful song, Smile, from their album, Justified. Enjoy.
We love you, we miss you, we can't wait to see you in person and sing together.
Thank you so much for having us again. We are Indici Femme, Mike Vargan on bass, the beautiful David Gomez on kit and percussions.
These brothers are amazing. They totally support mothers and grandmothers and Mother Earth. So thank you guys for being with us today. David and Mike, we love you.
When you walk on by, say nothing. with the world. Smile with the world.
And let the tears fall down. Thank you.
Once again, here's John O'Manson singing No New Kind of Blue.
There ain't no new kind of blue. There ain't no he or she or they or you. There ain't no yellow, red, white, or black. There's just one simple fact. There ain't no new kind of blue. There ain't no new kind of blue. In the deepest sea or the sky up over you. The evening sun goes down, shining purple, golden brown. Still there ain't no new kind of blue. There ain't nothing new about these blues inside of you. No matter what you say or do, they don't care when or why or who. No, there ain't no new kind of blue. There ain't no new kind of blue. That's why they always say it's up to you to make the most of every day before you up and fly away. There ain't no new kind of blue. There ain't no new kind of blue. The Lightning Boy Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in northern New Mexico that provides traditional hoop dance instruction and other dance programming to Native youth ages 2 and up. The mission of the foundation is dedicated to nurturing and building confidence and integrity through culture and artistic expression. The foundation was established in 2017 in honor of Valentino Tzigaweno Lightning Boy Rivera, son of George and Felicia Rivera. He was a young, energetic hoop dancer and traditional Pueblo dancer who was involved in a terrible car accident and succumbed to his injuries after fighting for 14 months at the age of 8. To carry on his wisdom and legacy, his mother Felicia, Steve Lawrence, and master instructor Nakota Lawrence started a foundation to offer the same artistic opportunities to the Native youth as Valentino received in his short life. Sadly, in July of 2020, Nakota was also involved in an accident, and the Lightning Boy hoop dancers instantly lost their master instructor. However, Nakota's younger sister, Shandine, has gracefully and fearlessly assumed the position as the new master instructor. The strength and resilience of the Lightning Boy Foundation members is simply unmatched, and they couldn't do it without the support of their followers and donors.
Hello. My name is Steve Lawrence, and I'm the co-founder of the nonprofit based here in northern New Mexico, the Lightning Boy Foundation. And the purpose of the Lightning Boy Foundation is to empower our Native youth through cultural programming. We're very happy to be here with you today for the Santa Fe Conservation Trust event. And today I will sing as my daughter, Shandine Lawrence, who is a master instructor for the Lightning Boy Foundation, will present our Native American hoop dance. The Native American hoop dance has very deep roots here in the pueblos of northern New Mexico, and in its original form, it was a healing ceremony. But today's contemporary hoop dance actually celebrates the beauty of Mother Nature and reminds us to be stewards of the environment. So during Shondine's performance today, you'll see her weave her hoops in the many different designs found in nature. Look for these designs. Look for the eagle, the butterfly. Look for the flower. Also the horse design, which represents the four-legged animals. Look for a design called the ladder of life, which represents our journey here on earth as an infant, as a child, as a teenager, and as an adult, and as an elder. We are happy to present this Native American hoop dance in support of the Santa Fe Conservation Trust, and we hope it will remind you of all the beautiful gifts Mother Earth gives us and to take care of those and protect those gifts. Thank you.
Thank you.
What a stunning and powerful performance from Shandine Lawrence, Master Instructor for the Lightning Boy Foundation. That just about wraps up our Santa Fe Conservation pre-show for this evening. Big thanks go out to all the talented performers in tonight's program. Lara Monzanares, Jamie Michaels, Indigi Femme, the Lightning Boy Foundation, and to my lovely daughter, Natanya Manson. And yours truly, Jono Manson. Now is a good time for a quick break, but please come right back. Our big event, the Santa Fe Conservation Trust's Community Conservation Celebration, will begin in just a few minutes. Even my dog Ruby's excited about it. Can you hear the excitement? Wow.
Hey, I'm Lara Monzanares. I've spent so much of my life in the mountains and valleys and riverbeds of northern New Mexico. I honestly don't know who I would be without them. Thank you so much for joining us and helping to keep the beauty that surrounds us available to all.
Hi folks, Jamie Michaels here, asking you to join the Santa Fe Conservation Trust in their latest campaign, Stand Up for Nature. Let's make sure that we have nice clean water and beautiful tall standing unburned trees for all the future generations. Okay? Okay. Thank you.
Oi, what are you doing? Oh, stand up. What are we standing up for? Oh, standing up for nature. I'm into that. We're standing up for nature.
Yes.
Hey, if you've just beamed in, welcome to the Santa Fe Conservation Trust fundraiser. We are here standing up for nature. Thank you if you've just joined us with the incredible presenters and performers that are here, all for the same cause, standing up for nature. We are Indigi Femme. My name is Elena. I'm from the waters of Aotearoa.
Yate, I'm from the Navajo Nation.
And as Indigenous people and as custodians to Mother Earth, it is our inherent right to stand up and care for Mother Earth. Please give to the Santa Fe Conservation Trust. So far in the 28 years they've been able to protect 28,000 acres of northern New Mexico lands. That is for your great-great-grandchildren to enjoy. Give what you can of what the Santa Fe Conservation Trust is doing. And again, stand up for nature!
Hey everybody, my name is Gail. I'm going to be your MC for the night. I am so excited for this event. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm sure you all enjoyed the pre-show. How great was that? I'm here to remind you that we need you to participate. So please, if you haven't already, sign up so that you can text to give. That's going to happen later in the evening. So important. Please, if you haven't already, sign up. Text to give. You can also, if you prefer, make a donation by going straight to the website. And if that's easier for you, no problem. And that is sfct.org. Are you ready to have an amazing night? I sure hope so. We have a wonderful event for you. Let's take it away.
We are hurtling toward the day when climate change could be irreversible.
Rising sea levels already altering this nation's coast.
China's capital is choking in its worst pollution of the year.
5% temperature rise with
1.5 degrees
People are telling us this is the worst they've ever seen. That fires have burned more intensely, more ferociously.
Says that a prolonged heat wave in the Siberian Arctic this year is unequivocal evidence.
World leaders are meeting in Madrid to talk about the climate crisis and how to slow it down. And they're under pressure from millions of people around the world calling for concrete action.
The empty promises are the same, and the inaction is the same.
So what exactly are we doing wrong, and how do we fix it?
Hi, I'm Sarah Noss, Executive Director at the Santa Fe Conservation Trust. Welcome to our Community Conservation Celebration, where collectively we're going to stand up for nature. We're excited about tonight because we want to show you about some new initiatives at the Santa Fe Conservation Trust that are addressing climate change and the loss of biodiversity, two problems that are really threatening the life that sustains us. But first, let me introduce you to our board president, George Strickland.
Thank you, Sarah. For those of you who don't know us, the Santa Fe Conservation Trust is a 28-year-old land trust with a strong trails legacy. We work with almost 100 different landowners in Santa Fe, San Miguel, and Rio Arriba County to protect over 43,000 acres from development. Our trail legacy came about largely because of Dale Ball, who was our first executive director. We worked with him to create the Dale Ball Trail System, and we had a hand in the development of 75 miles of trail in and around Santa Fe. Trails that have soothed and protected us during the course of this pandemic. Nature stood up for us over the last couple of years, and we're asking you to stand up for nature tonight. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Santa Fe Conservation Trust and all of our volunteers, we thank you for being here tonight. And without you, we couldn't do this. And so we thank you for your support.
Thank you, George. And now it's time for me to introduce our Mistress of Ceremonies. She's been advocating for elders as our state's Deputy Long-Term Care Ombudsman. But she also cut her teeth at Second City in Chicago as a stand-up comic, and she's an actress. She's live in our studios. Please welcome Gail Trotter.
Sarah, thank you so much. My name is Gail Trotter. I am thrilled to be here tonight. While it's true I do have a background in comedy, I'm here tonight because it's a serious event. We are definitely going to have some fun. But this event means a lot to me because I've lived in Santa Fe for roughly 35 years. I have a wonderful quality of life, as I'm sure you do too, mostly because of the environment we have here. It's beautiful. And frankly, we have the trust to thank for a lot of that, for preserving our trails and really enhancing our quality of life. Now, we want to know, for everybody out there watching, we want to know what you're up to while you're watching the show. We want you to participate, and we're going to participate with you as well. So what we'd like is for you to post a picture of what you're up to. Post it on Instagram with hashtag Santa Fe Stand Up for Nature. And that way we can share that later on. But also, if you participate in that manner, you may be one of the winners of some phenomenal gifts that we're going to be giving away tonight. Now, I don't want to say exactly what it is, but let's just say one of them is guaranteed to raise your spirits And in keeping with that theme, we have a couple other of gifts that kind of have that adult beverage sort of theme, right? Send us your pictures. We want to see them. Get on Instagram. Win some cool stuff. Oh, and thanks. Santa Fe, the Trust, is moving forward in so many amazing ways to protect the land that we all have here, the amazing trails that we have, everything. So we really need to be thankful for them. And one of the things we want to do is to bring everybody else into the process. We want to acknowledge the other people that have helped. And the best way to do it, take a look at this video.
I think now more than ever, more people are aware of these big existential issues that we face, and they're aware of the role that conservation can play in these issues.
A big part of what we're doing is protecting the connectivity of all of those lands for generations to come and return it to its natural state. That's really our goal.
One of the things that I've seen the Santa Fe Land Trust do is try to work with the community to make sure that those communities are served, to try to tie everything together. And so that's a very aggressive approach, but I think that's what the Land Trust is doing, trying to think big, think outside the box, and achieve some very aggressive goals.
Being part of the Conservation Trust has really shown us how to protect these sorts of wild lands and the importance of doing that for not only us to enjoy, but for other people to enjoy into the future.
Conservation Trust has been selected to be our Safe Routes to Schools contractor, and we're very excited about this relationship. That's going to allow us to understand the connections between these trails and the schools and where we need things and where we need to put some money to improve. One of our most used resources in the city was our trails during the pandemic. Definitely we've seen a huge increase, and I think it's going to stay that way.
One of the things that I love about the work that the Santa Fe Conservation Trust does is the fact that it does fit like puzzle pieces within this broader scheme of conserved lands all over North America, from Mexico all the way up to Canada.
The initiative that the Biden administration jumped on board with is the 30 by 30 initiative, which calls for 30% of our country's wildlands to be put under conservation by the year 2030.
What's special about this trust is its commitment to connecting people with the land, not just going through the professional exercises of establishing easements on land, but working hard to connect us in a spiritual way with the land that around here is so important to who we are.
We have a big planet with these very diverse ecosystems that are supporting us, and we have to learn to support them. So from the top down to the local level, this is what's going to be really exciting, and I think the Conservation Trust is going to play a big part in this.
We say we're igniting people's passion about nature, inviting people to do that.
The places that the Trust has conserved make Santa Fe and this area really what it is. That work is so important to bring a quality of life to a community that makes people love it and want to live there and stay there.
How about it? That was an amazing video. You know, just south of Santa Fe, the Galisteo Basin. I'm sure you're familiar with it. I've spent a lot of time there. It's relatively close to where we live. It has 750 square miles, huge area. And this is where the Trust is making an enormous difference. Right there in that area, we have key wildlife in the corridor between the Sandias, the Ortiz, and the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. We also have, it's a corridor for wildlife in addition, from Canada to Mexico, enormous area. Now, with the help of the Eugene V. and Claire E. Thaw Charitable Trust, the Santa Fe Conservation Trust has a new initiative, and it's called the Conservation Homestead. And it is going to teach us how we can take better care of the land, of our environment, of this beautiful place we live in, and all of the animals, the birds, everything that lives in the environment. Now let's find out what that's all about.
The Galisteo Basin is a focus area, probably our prime focus area, and this Conservation Homestead is our biggest project yet. Not necessarily in terms of the size of the land, but in terms of the scope of the work.
My work with the Conservation Trust has been, without a doubt, the most gratifying part of my time in Santa Fe.
So the Conservation Homestead is this 300-acre parcel in the heart of the Galisteo Basin. It was donated to the Santa Fe Conservation Trust in 2020. It is a network of pathways in the center of the basin where animals, water, people, seeds all have a possibility to disperse and roam around in this landscape.
We are turning it into a demonstration project for how to steward the land in this increasingly challenging environment that we live in. Taking on this project, we decided that it would be a great format to showcase conservation techniques. Many conservation easements spread out around this area. If this kind of movement spreads to other parts of the land, then all of a sudden you've got a movement going on. We're working on about a 10-year plan right now. We've got 8,000 acres approximately under conservation easement. It's a lot of erosion control, some contour plowing, and we planted a bunch of seed, and we're trying to spread out the water. Lots of wildlife come through this area. Some wildlife calls it home, and we'd like to see more of that.
Keeping the water as high on the landscape for as long as possible. Once water leaves this site and heads into that arroyo, it's of no benefit to here. We have a very dry area here. This turns into a capillary reserve of keeping water in the soil and in the roots of all of the plants that we establish here. We've got a big wildflower mix in here of both annuals and perennials and biennials. No bare ground is our goal.
I think we are solving a problem of current desertification. If problems are solved, that's one definition of what success means.
We think that once people see what you can do with a piece of land like this, they'll want to do it more and more. And if we can spread that kind of feeling throughout the greater community and throughout the country, we'll slowly get to the kind of place that we want to be.
And the things that the Conservation Trust are involved in our future projects will make, I think, just a significant difference in our community.
Together, to build gradually a community of collaborative learners that deepens the appreciation and the knowledge to the point that people really call this home.
I encourage people to come out and check it out and check out the whole Galisteo Basin.
Oh, wow. Oh, whoa, this is crazy. You got to see some of these. I really, really want to thank you guys. Everybody out there who's sending in your amazing Instagram photos, some of which we're not going to be showing you, but we do know who you are and what you've been up to. But the majority of them we can definitely share with you. Now look at this. Is there anything sweeter than Miss Sarah with her sister who looks exactly like her, right? We know you're out there watching us. We know it. A lot of love for Sarah, right? Let's see what, oh, I went out with this guy. No, we're gonna go past that. No, nobody needs that. Here's another one, really nice one. Keep them coming, guys. We're really, really excited and happy to know that you're out there, you're enjoying yourselves, and you're participating. And we'll continue to show these. Now look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. That's gorgeous. I don't know the name of that plant, but it's pretty. Isn't that nice? Thanks for sending that in. Okay. It might be lavender, I don't know. But, well, now this I recognize, right? Because it requires a corkscrew. So I know what you're doing at home. Good for you. That's great. That's great. Well, let's talk a moment about conservation again, because the fact is, when we're talking about climate change, this is not something that is going to go away to make life more convenient for us. It's not something that we can just hope would leave. No, it takes a lot of people working together with the trust to do something about it. And the fact is, conservation cannot take place in a vacuum. It cannot take place without so much help from so many amazing partners. So here's a shout out, a very special shout out to communities in schools. They are a key partner working with the Trust on outreach with children.
My name is Lara Monzanares and I'm a site coordinator with communities in schools at Capitol High School. We work one-on-one with families to address their needs and help the students stay in school and graduate. Since my focus is to work with monolingual newcomers, it just made perfect sense for me to work with Brandon. I checked on his grades and I thought to myself, wow, he knows virtually no English and he has straight A's in a school where most of instruction is in English. He took something that was so negative for so many students and he made it a positive in his life. In 4 years, obviously, I want to see him graduate. I want to see him walk the stage. I love feeling like I'm making an impact in the community, and it feels like, I'm doing work that matters.
Communities in schools would like to extend our gratitude to the Santa Fe Conservation Trust for spearheading the Safe Routes to Schools program. And thank you to Marilee Caldwell and Marcus Randolph for being all in for kids in Santa Fe.
So, are you starting to get the idea how important it is that we connect other people to the outdoors so that we can continue to do our conservation work? Connecting people, having passionate defenders of the land, that is what the Trust is all about. And the Trust knows that everybody is significant, but the children especially, you've heard it before, but it's true, the children are the future. And what the Trust does, and they do so well, is ignite a passion in kids now so that they'll continue to be passionate in the future about the environment, about the land, about the air, about this magnificent place that we are fortunate enough to live in, that we absolutely want to preserve. We want everybody to continue to defend the environment, and especially our children to grow up knowing how important that work is. The Trust has 2 very successful programs that I'm really excited to tell you about. The first one is called Passport to Trails. The second one is called Vominos. You've probably heard of both of them. They both ensure that everybody has equitable access to the great outdoors. The Passport program, they have had over 3,000 children and families introduced to our magnificent trails since that program started. 3,000. That's fantastic. And the Vominos program, over 1,000 people have walked those trails in the first 3 years because of that program. And everything that both programs are doing for the environment, let's hear a shout out for that. I can hear you at home, right? That's extraordinary. Oh, yeah. That is extraordinary. Now, please take a look at the Trust's newest effort, equally amazing. This is the Safe Routes to School program.
One of the things that is so important to me as an individual is doing whatever I can to help preserve the land that we have for generations that are ahead of us. We have the programs we have today to engage the community that lives here now.
The Safe Routes to School program is a very essential program because what it's doing, it's taking kids K through 8 and connecting them to the planning process so that we're thinking like the kids. We're thinking for them and we're helping them get the trails that they need to get to the places they want to go safely. And so this is a group that's put together with the city, the county, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, or the MPO, and the Santa Fe Conservation Trust.
I feel good. I want to do it twice.
We're just really starting this Safe Routes to School activity. We have a contract with the City of Santa Fe with federal funding. Our objective is to create a plan for Safe Routes to School for the whole Santa Fe Public Schools district so that more kids walk and bike to school, you know, for their health.
That kids get excited about walking to school or walking to the park. And you know, you and I grew up walking to the neighborhood park, and you know, our world's changed a little bit, and we need to get back to thinking about how do we move through our community in a way that a kid would.
My favorite part about biking would have to be getting exercise, because all I really do in my life is sit, drink Gatorade, and play video games, and I gain weight, but when I go on my bike and ride around, I lose weight because I'm getting exercise.
And this is so important. It's a community effort. We're speaking for the kids, we're designing with the kids, and we're bringing their voices to the surface.
My favorite part about biking is you like save the earth and you don't use like bad oil, and if you use bad oil for the earth, like everything on the earth, it's just gonna get weaker.
Well, I know you guys must be having a fantastic time out there. Thank you for those Instagram photos. They continue to come in. So happy that you are all enjoying this amazing event. Well, we've all seen the big picture work that's been going on with the Trust, right? Now, it's time to bring back the executive director, yes, the one and only, you know who it is. Say it with me now. Sarah Noss. How about it, Sarah Noss?
Thank you, Gail. It's an honor for me to be at the helm of such a wonderful organization with such a great staff and board. And we've worked really hard to come together to provide solutions to two of the biggest challenges of our time, which is climate change and the loss of biodiversity. And even the pandemic is showing us that humans have pushed nature to the brink. And if we don't do something about it right now, we're going to face a very bleak future. But hopefully tonight we've given you some hope. When challenges seem so big and insurmountable, I think the solution to it is to look locally and to work locally. And I know that you wouldn't be here tonight if you didn't care about the open spaces and the wild places of our region that really fill us and our souls. And I know that you care about every living thing that lives on the land, because all those things sustain us and keep us healthy. So the Santa Fe Conservation Trust, by working on connectivity and to address the loss of biodiversity, is also working with people and providing people solutions, bringing people together, building community and strengthening our ties to each other and the land. The 30 by 30 initiative gives us 9 years to lessen the effects of climate change. And if we don't do it, we're going to be really leaving our children with a future that's going to be very uncomfortable. We've got to do this for the children. We've got to make a better environment for them and leave a better place for them to live in, because they deserve to feel the wonder and the awe of nature that we've experienced our whole lives. So it's going to take all of us coming together right now, doing whatever we can, at whatever level we can, to push this work forward. And I'm urging you right now to get ready to text to give, to stand up for nature, to help us do that, I'd like to introduce Mackenzie Allen.
Sarah, thanks so much, and thank you all for participating tonight. It is absolutely crucial. It's vital that you support the Trust, and we know that you will because that's why you're here tonight. I've got something very exciting to tell you about in just a minute. I just want to run through a couple of things first. First of all, is there anyone out there who cannot hear me? If you can't, just raise your hand. Now, did anybody actually raise a hand? If you did, just raise your hand. Actually, there's a guy who's waving in a very agitated fashion. Never mind, I'm sorry, that's a cocktail shaker. He's just working on a cocktail. Now listen, that reminds me, usually we do these things in a ballroom, in a hotel, in a venue, a theater, some kind of big event venue. You're home tonight. You don't have to drive anywhere. Have another drink, open a bottle of wine. We want you relaxed. We would love you to be enthusiastic and bid with us generously. Now let me run one thing by you before we get to the money part. Most people would agree, I think, that investments are good things to have. Some people have them, some people don't, but I think most of us would feel comfortable if we had an investment. If you're old enough, as I am, to remember Enron, maybe not. And I can bet there's somebody out there mumbling, shut up already, don't remind me about Enron. That aside though, what if I brought you a deal? What if I told you about an investment you could make that was a guarantee, it was a lock, and your return on investment is absolutely a sure thing? Not only that, your return on investment is going to be the same no matter how much you invest. So your $25, your $50, your $100 bid, your $5,000 if we were only that lucky, that investment is going to get you the exact same return on investment. Now, why is that? It's because everybody gets to participate in the lands, the trails, the environment that the Trust conserves, protects, and develops in the good way, not the bad development, but develops for the wildlife, to keep nature whole. No matter what you give us tonight to help support those efforts, you are going to have a year-round, a perpetual, a lifetime investment that's going to keep on returning no matter how much. All right, please keep that in mind. Now, let me tell you how we're starting this thing off. We are really lucky. We have got donations from 2 foundations, can't mention their names. We do so very much appreciate them. Are you ready for this? They're giving us $50,000 that we can try to match tonight. $50,000. How's that for a way to start the night off? Now, well, wait a minute. Richard's our computer wizard. We're already at $56,470. We're already over $55,000.
That's right.
So you're already bidding. We're already almost to $60,000. What? Is this right? This 10?
Yes, it is right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the best way to start. This is so far beyond what I would have expected. We just got from the Walter Bacon Charitable Fund another $10,000 pledge. Is that something? We have got 60 grand that we can try to match here tonight. $60,000. Now let me ask you this. Who out there, and I know you care, who out there can be really heroic, I mean truly heroic, and get us started with, dare I ask, a $5,000 bid? Is anybody good for $5,000? Somebody maybe 5,000. Can we get 5,000? Who? Is that right?
Yeah.
Danny Cameron?
Danny Cameron.
Danny Cameron, where are you, my friend? 5,000 from Danny Cameron. And Nancy Cook, am I reading this right? Richard, is that right?
Yes, it is.
Nancy Cook, $5,000. This is crazy. Look at your tote board. We're up over 76,000 already. We're 76,475. Anybody else? We're going to go all over the board here, but anybody else at 5 before we can go away from that for just a moment? We'd love to keep coming back to it. Yes, Michael and Kelly Avery, 5,000. Another 5,000. Folks, we're already over $81,000. Kevin Brennan, $500. Kevin, thank you so much. This is unbelievable. I never expect. Beth Kirby. Beth, if you can see us and hear us, thank you so much. $500 from Beth Kirby. Sally Denton, $250. Sally, you're the best. Thank you so much for all of this. This is unbelievable. We have, if I'm reading this right, yes, Drs. Martinez and Dr. Zamora from the Family Medicine Partners of Santa Fe. You ready, folks? $1,000. Thank you, Dr. Martinez. Thank you, Dr. Zamora.
Matt, George Strickland and Anita Ogard were in for $5,000.
How much?
5,000 from George Strickland and
Anita George, another 5. This thing is running like crazy. This is looking like on the odometer on my 2003 Saturn. Look at this thing go. We're up at 87,475 already, folks. Who else we got? Anybody else? Margot Cutler? Is that right? Margot Cutler, $1,000. Margot, we love you. Thank you so much. $1,000. Joanna Prukop, $500. Thank you. Keep them coming, folks. Keep them coming.
Matt.
Yes, sir.
Danny Cameron's back in.
No, we already have Danny for 5.
No, a second 5.
No, come on.
Yes.
Are you joking? You're putting me on.
No.
Danny Cameron, another $5,000. Danny,
Yes.
My friend, I am mowing your lawn forever. I'll pull all the weeds, and everybody knows this past few weeks we got weeds like a jungle. Danny, you're the best. That's unbelievable. Now, while you're thinking, let me suggest 1 or 2 ways to think about this. Imagine what you would pay for a day pass. You know, you buy a day pass when you go skiing. How much would you pay for a day pass to use all these trails, to enjoy all this environment? For a day pass, for a week pass, what would you pay for a month's pass? How much would you pay for a year to have unlimited use of all our natural resources, all the trails that the Trust maintains, all the lands that are preserved and protected by the Trust and developed in the good way to protect the environment? How much is that worth to you? Help us out here tonight. You're supporting tonight the efforts that go on. While we're all doing other things, these folks are out working hard to maintain this environment that we're all so lucky to enjoy, as Gail described, as all these videos have shown you. Just keep the money coming, folks. This is a critical thing for us. Yes, what do we got?
Mary Ellen Richardson, $1,000.
Mary Ellen Richardson?
Yeah.
Mary Ellen, $1,000. We're at 93, folks. Let's at least get to 100,000. Then we can talk about 110 and 120,000. We'll see what happens after that. We're at 93 now. Kristen Sargent, $250. Kristen, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Let me make another suggestion while we're talking about this. We want your money. Don't be distracted unless you're having another drink. That's great. Not too long ago, some of you may be familiar with, I hope probably a lot of people are familiar with the Cow Creek situation in the Pecos Wilderness. Yep. There is a developer who wants to despoil that pristine tract. I wrote a letter to the New Mexican. I was lucky enough to have it published. Inez Russell Gomez is pretty good. She publishes a lot of our letters. It prompted some other letters. My point is simply this. If you become active about these things, you can actually make a change. Do you remember the La Bajada gravel mine that they tried to push through? So many people went down to City Hall, or the county building, I should say, and testified, and that thing got scuttled. Call San Miguel County, write letters. Let's try to get these kinds of damaging developments done away with, knocked down by the different counties. You can help. You can help tonight by supporting the Trust. You can help by being an activist in your community with newspapers and letters. Talk to your friends. Be vocal, especially in Santa Fe. This is a great town for that. That's how we get these things done. Martha Noss Wilder, $100. Thank you, Martha. Elizabeth Annette Hansen, $50.
Yeah.
Speaking of $50.
Breeze Robertson, 500.
Bree Robertson?
Breeze.
$500. Thank you so very much. All right. Now, let's talk about $50 for a minute. If you went to Starbucks every day, but this next week you skipped a day and you only went every other day, that would save you like $50 a week at Starbucks, right? Send that to the Trust. Have a coffee, one of those exotic coffees, every other day, and use that money to help support the Santa Fe Conservation Trust. I see names coming across here. Folks, you don't have to keep up with these 5,000. Boy, we're getting a lot of big numbers. Thank you. We want your $5 donations. We want your $10, your $25. They all add up. They all add up. You're getting the same value out of it because you're supporting the same trust, but we need this kind of money. Do it tonight. You can have an immediate impact. You know, it's not something that's going to take place years from now. As you support us, as you support the people doing this fabulous work, it's in the process. You are supporting it on a daily basis and certainly an annual basis.
Sheila Potter, 500.
Who was that? I missed the name. Sheila Potter? Carter, $500. We're up to 94,375. We don't have much further to go to get to the 100. Let's get to the 100,000, folks. What else can we do? What can we offer you? Well, I can remind you of this, perhaps. This has been a rough year for everybody. we've been mostly shut out of doing the things we like to do, the restaurants, the theaters. I know the opera's back open, very sparsely seated, but it's been a year and a half where we had to put off a lot of plans. We probably saved a fair amount of money. Let's take some of that money that might have gone to the restaurants, which we love to support. Let's take some of that money and support the basis of this wonderful town. It's our wilderness. It's the environment. It's the trails and the mountains and the animals. You don't see this in other places. Let's take part of that money that we couldn't spend this past year and a half and spend it tonight supporting a phenomenal organization.
Diane Lottie.
Diane Lottie, $100. Thank you so much. We're getting closer and closer, folks. Closer and closer. These are desperate times. All you have to do is turn on the news. It's getting to the point where you don't even want to watch the news anymore. But these changes in the climate, in the environment, are not going away anytime soon. Action is long overdue. Here's a chance to, this is the classic acting locally, thinking globally. You can act locally. We can help preserve our own environment. We can think globally. We can do whatever we can to help other people around the world, as we should. But right now, tonight, and for this coming year, you can really have an immediate impact. Help support the Santa Fe Conservation Trust tonight. Tonight. Have another sip of that red, that white, that champagne. Let that gentleman shake up another cocktail. I don't know, what was that, sir? Margaret, big margarita? Sheila Cotter, we already saw Sheila. Anybody else?
Lara Malone.
Lori? How much? $250. Laura, thanks a million. Thanks, $250. Laura Malone.
Clayton Jernigan.
How much?
500.
$500. Clayton Jernigan, there it is. Clayton, 500. That's a great one. Clayton, thank you so much. We are inching there. We're going to get there. Don't quit on us, folks. Stay with us. We only have a little while. Say again?
We need 4,800.
$4,800. Who's an angel out there? Somebody give us $4,800.
4,800.
Do I hear 4,800 right now? Better be 4,800. Somebody give me $4,800 now? Give me 4,000. I'll take 4,000. We'll talk about the other 800 later. Give me $100. Somebody give me $50. Give me $25. $25. That's it. You know what? If you gave us $75, that would be like two people going to a movie with large popcorn and a drink. Let's do that. Skip the movie. Skip the popcorn. Give us the 75. We got to go. We know we're not going to keep you here all night, but we're getting awfully close. We're over $95,000, folks. We're closing in on it. Just a little bit more. Who else have we got? We got anybody else? You got to remember what these, what's supported here. You have all these trails. There are 75 trails that are maintained. There are, 43,000 acres under protection. This takes a lot.
Miles of trails.
How many? What did I say? 75 trails?
Yeah.
75 miles of trails, forgive me. This all takes maintenance. It takes money to do this. There's a lot of volunteer work. There's a lot of really sincere, heartfelt effort going into it, but it does take money to do it. We need you to help. This is your environment. It's your town. This is your recreation area. Here's your chance to help us in a very immediate sense. Julie Overton, $100. Thank you, Julianne. $100. We're getting there. We need another couple of big angels or a bunch of small angels. We're getting awfully close, folks. Where do we want to be? Yes? Talk to each other. Because here's what's going to happen. When we end this portion, you're going to sit at home, you're going to talk to each other, and you're going to go, oh man, what was I thinking? We should have given them another $1,000. And it's going to be too late, although you could go to the website. But we'd love to have you here do it right now, tonight.
Other thing, the text to give is going to be open for another week.
Another week.
Yep.
Text to give, another week. No excuse not to do it tonight while we're here, but you can participate all this coming week on text to give. And they can always donate through the website, am I right?
That's right.
Okay. So what do we think, folks? What do we think? I know you're enjoying the program. I know you've enjoyed the videos. Sally Denton?
Yep.
$250, another $250. I know Danny Cameron's not in for a third $5,000. That would be a little too much to expect. So what do we think, folks?
Keep it going, keep it going.
We can do it.
Yeah,
We're getting awfully close. We're at 95,375. 95,375. Well,
We can do it. We got belief.
we're awfully close. You know, we're not the least bit proud We will take all the $10 donations we can get. We'll take all the $5 donations we get. Folks, 97. $97,875. We are really closing in on this, folks.
$2,125. That's all we need.
$2,175, $2,175. We could meet that right this moment if somebody hit that button and say I'm good for $2,175. We're really closing in on it. This is fabulous. We so appreciate what you're doing. Just get us over that next fence. Look at this. 98, 1 1/4. 98, 1 1/4. What do we need? 11.
That was Bob Yahoo.
His name is Bob Yahoo.
Bob Yahoo. And what did he do? What did he give us?
$250.
$250. Thank you, Bob Yahoo. We're awfully close, folks. We're awfully close. What are we? 1875 away? Is that where we are?
1875.
1875. Folks, somebody push that button, write that check, hit that note. We're getting awfully close. Everything helps. Give us your 5s, give us your 10s, your 25s, your 50s. You're not going to miss it. It only hurts for a second. I promise you. It only hurts for a second. It's like getting a vaccination. You're going to be so happy when you do this. By the way, everybody in the studio is vaccinated, and we are keeping our distance. Gail, you out there? Gail's somewhere far away, but she'll be back. We're awfully close, folks. 98, 125. 98, 125. Don't quit on us now. We're getting there. Just a couple more. 98, 375. Somebody jumped in. 98, 375. Where do we want to be? We're getting awful close. Somebody give me $1,000. Somebody give me $1,000. That'll get us like right next door to it. Can we get 1,000? Can we get 1,000? You're going to feel so good tomorrow.
All right, we're good.
Folks, thank you so very much. Can't thank you enough for your participation. You've been wonderful. We so very much appreciate it.
All right, bring back in Gail.
Gail, you out there somewhere? Come on in here.
Yeah, wait, hang on. Oh, man.
I know. That's a long walk.
Woo. Hey, what do you want from me? I went out to the Galisteo Basin. I figured I had time. I got through almost every trail. Almost. It is beautiful out there. I saw so many birds. There's so much wildlife. And Sarah, they said to say hi to you. They love you. They think you're great. Okay, let me catch my breath. Whew, okay. Yeah, it's time for me to take a breath after all that running. But it's also time for you, our viewers at home. Sit back, take a break. This is amazing work that you have done. We're so grateful. Take it all in. Think about everything that you have accomplished so far. Crack open another, I was going to say hams, but I don't even know they still make it. A bud, whatever works for you. The bubbly, yeah? And toast this amazing event. Save some for me. And sit back and enjoy an edited discussion that we're bringing to you right now. It is with the Santa Fe Forest Service Supervisor, Miss Debbie Cress, in conversation with, come on, the one and only, you know who it is, come on, Bill deBuys. Oh, and by the way, we will show the entire discussion. Not now, it's going to be a little bit later after the show. Thank you, sit back, have a nice toast. I'm going to catch my breath too.
It's my pleasure right now to introduce our two presenters for tonight's event, Debbie Cress and Bill deBuys. Debbie Cress, let's start with you. In your new role as Forest Supervisor for the Santa Fe National Forest, Debbie is overseeing the management, conservation, and enhancement of 1.6 million forested acres across 6 counties in the Sangre de Cristo and Jemez mountain ranges. A New Mexico State University graduate with a degree in range science, Debbie oversees a national forest that attracts 1.3 million people a year. The forest has an annual budget of $18 million and employs 191 people. A native New Mexican who grew up in Deming, Debbie's family has farmed and ranched over multiple generations. Prior to joining the Santa Fe National Forest, Debbie held district ranger positions on both the Tonto and Gila National Forests. Her first permanent job with the Forest Service was on the Tonto as a natural resources and rangeland management specialist. While she was working on her degree in range science from New Mexico State University, Debbie spent summers as a seasonal employee on the Cibola National Forest in New Mexico and in the USDA Forest Service Northern Regions Regional Office in Montana. Thank you so much for being here, Debbie. Debbie's going to be in conversation with Bill deBuys, who I might add was one of the founders of our organization. Can't forget that. But Bill is also a conservationist and writer, and he's the author of 10 books, including A Great Aridness, Climate Change and the Future of the American West, which was published in 2011, and River of Traps, a 1991 Pulitzer finalist. His most recent book, The Trail to Conjiroba, Rediscovering Earth in an Age of Loss, has just been published. He has held various fellowships, including a Guggenheim Fellowship in 2008 to 2009, and he lives on a farm that he's tended since 1976 in northern New Mexico. So I want to welcome you both. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll turn it over to you to get started, Bill.
Okay, well, great. Thank you so much, Sarah. It's great to be with you and with the Friends of the Santa Fe Conservation Trust. And it's great to be with you, Debbie. Welcome to the big annual event of the Conservation Trust.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really nice to have you, and we thank you for the time you're giving us to share your thoughts. I'm wondering too about the Forest Service's responsibility or the mission ahead of it in terms of educating the public. I feel as though New Mexico has been fortunate to get a little extra time. If we know that the reality that we've been seeing in California is coming our way, what do we do now in terms of communication, in terms of preparation, just to get everybody, if we can, on the same page?
Yeah, that's a great question, and also something that we're talking very actively about right now as an agency, locally, here in New Mexico, in this region, and then also nationally. There's been tremendous energy and effort put into the Smokey Bear campaign, to educate people about campfires and things like that. And it's been successful, that's an iconic image that resonates with folks. And so the conversation we're having now is, how do we expand that out to build a collective understanding of forest management and forest restoration, and try to separate out what devastating wildfires are versus what prescribed fires can be, the management of fires at a small scale where it makes sense, those thinning and restoration opportunities in the woods. When those kinds of activities happen, they generate a really strong response from the public, because we all want to see a beautiful standing green forest. And so sometimes when those thinning activities happen and there's openings left behind, or we've done prescribed fire and there's a burned area, left on the landscape for the public to look at, there isn't always support for that, and understanding of that. And some of that is basic, education about healthy forests, and some of it's more complex about philosophies, and different opposing scientific views of what's healthy and what's not healthy. And so, I think our commitment at a minimum is that we continue those conversations and we continue reaching out at really primary levels to just explain, the difference in the tools that we use to manage the landscape, but then also those more complex conversations, at higher levels with different groups and different ideologies to help understand, the perspectives that are out there in the room, and can we find common ground in how we do this management, because if we don't, we're going to face some tremendous loss. And so I'm committed to that personally and professionally, and I know we are as an agency, you know, and really building that common ground to work from, where we share, you know, a place of work that maybe we're all a little bit uncomfortable with, but you know, it's something we can use to make progress in keeping our forests healthy.
Yeah. It's a big challenge, a really big challenge. And in the context of knowing that we're entering a decade that will probably see massive ecological change, a couple of decades that will see massive ecological change. Sometimes it seems to me almost beside the point to talk about trails and recreation, and yet we all need that. You know, that's what connects us to this land that we love. And if we don't experience it, we don't know it. And if we don't know it, we don't love it. And if we don't love it, we won't protect it. So I'm wondering where you see in this context, what you see developing where recreation is concerned, because obviously that's a big interest of the Santa Fe Conservation Trust.
Absolutely. And a big interest for us as well. People will not learn to love and appreciate forested lands, public lands, if they're not given opportunity to access those lands. And I think we had a really great opportunity. We still have a really great opportunity as a result of the pandemic. So many people that hadn't been connected to outdoor spaces and public lands all of a sudden did that, and did it, you know, some of them in a way that lacked understanding of what it means to, you know, to be connected to forest lands. And so there's been some really great energy put into outreach and education to, you know, to people about recreation and how to recreate responsibly in the forest. And we're going to continue to do that. And we're going to continue to emphasize the value of that, you know, that access to public lands and access to good trails and you know, unique recreation opportunities, so that a variety of people are getting to explore and love, you know, these lands, because that's what's going to keep them relevant and meaningful into the future. If people stop loving them, then we're going to lose support for, you know, that work that we do out there. The Great American Outdoors Act was passed not too long ago, and that has provided an influx of funding for recreation infrastructure, for building trails and improving existing recreation sites, and making sure that communities have, you know, maintained financial connectivity and support from public lands and from forested lands. So it's still very much important and very relevant, not just to the Forest Service and the people that value that, but to our political representatives as well. You know, they're hearing loud and clear from the public that that's important, and not just in National Park Service lands, but in Forest Service lands as well. So I see us continuing to receive funds. Again, if the infrastructure bill passes, there's going to be funding opportunities in that to direct toward recreation. And so we're trying to position ourselves in a way that we'll be able to take advantage of those funds if they come our way, and do the good work of making recreation appealing and accessible to all sorts of people.
As from where you sit leading the Santa Fe National Forest, do you have some major wildlife or endangered species issues that you are keeping a close eye on, or has the Santa Fe more or less escaped that?
No, we definitely have threatened and endangered species here on the Santa Fe National Forest, and very most recently with the Mexican spotted owl, there was a highlighting of concern about management for that species from some non-governmental organizations, you know, and we worked through that to get to a place where, you know, we're alongside the state and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, that we're providing the appropriate mitigations, that we're making, you know, very clear considerations for habitat, which is the part that we manage, as you mentioned. and making sure that we're doing a really good job of wrapping that into the work that we're doing, the decisions that we're making. So it's very clear that comes right at the top of the list of the work we're doing is the conservation of their habitats so that they're staying healthy, and we're doing everything we can for those populations. So that's a really important species. The New Mexico meadow jumping mouse, again, is another really important species that stays high on people's radar and is in a really sensitive place with riparian habitat, and so making sure that we're considering that as part of our decision making stays at the forefront of our minds.
Well, Debbie, I'm really impressed with the breadth and difficulty of your job, especially looking down the road at a period in history that is pretty unusual. I've said to people that if what you really love is to see landscape change, you've been born in the best possible era of civilization. But then again, if you're the kind of person who gets attached to particular places and doesn't want to see them change, it's not such a good time.
Right.
So here we are at an inflection point of history, I think. And so as you look down the road, what are the 2 or 3 things you would most like to get accomplished in your tenure as supervisor of the Santa Fe?
Wow, that's a big question. So the core value that I hold most closely as a professional and as a person is understanding interdependence of people, amongst each other, and the interdependence that we have on our ecosystems and, the worlds, the microcosms that we call home, and the places that we go to connect and relax and feel human. And so what I want most to accomplish, first of all, is just to broaden my understanding of what people value in northern New Mexico, all the people here, all the conflicting, opposing, cooperating points of view that are out there. I really am striving to take time to understand that, to listen to people internally, within my agency, externally with other agencies, and then of course with our communities and the different groups, that represent those communities. So that's not something you can really measure, but that's definitely, the most specific action that I want to take. James Malonis and all of the staff that supported him, and forest supervisors on neighboring forests like James Duran up on the Carson National Forest and Steve Hottenbach on the Cibola National Forest, have spent a tremendous amount of time and energy recently to set in motion these opportunities for work on the landscape. And so we've signed some major decisions to get to work on riparian areas here in northern New Mexico. On the Rio Chama watershed, like I mentioned, we're finishing up the analysis for the Santa Fe Mountains, to be able to do work in there, restoration work. And so I very much in the next 5 years want to see the implementation of that work, the fruition of all of that planning and visioning that's been done. I want to see those opportunities happen on the ground, where we see the restoration of riparian areas that have been damaged for one reason or another. We see, restoration of our landscapes so that they're healthier and we've given them a fighting chance to meet climate change head on, that we've done what we possibly can. There's such an urgency in that work because you're right, we've been given a window of opportunity that other states haven't. We haven't seen that. We've had some big wildfires here. There's no doubt about that. I mean, there's some big scars out there on that landscape. There's also some places that, we have a chance to get ahead of it and give them an opportunity to be healthy and resilient. So the implementation of those kinds of projects is really, really important to me. And then that recreation piece is also something I want to see. There's a lot of really great visioning happening right now for our trail systems and recreation opportunities out there and how we're connecting people. And so I don't want to miss the opportunity with some of these funds that are coming from, you know, Congress sending appropriated dollars our way to make sure that the Santa Fe National Forest gets their fair share of that, and that we apply that, you know, in a responsible way, in a way that our communities want to see us apply that money and make improvements. So that all cycles back to that first part of just building relationships and maintaining conversations. So I understand what the communities want, you know, what our northern New Mexico residents want and our visitors want to see in their future here. So that sounds a little bit lofty, but I really mean it when I say that.
Well, that's great. You know, you've been absolutely wonderful to give us your time today and to tolerate these questions I've thrown at you. Let me inflict just one more on you.
Absolutely.
And just quickly, if you could comment on what you would like to ask the public to do with regard to the National Forest, besides cut you slack, that goes without saying. But if you could have the perfect public to help the National Forest get the job done that the public wants the forest to do, how would you wave your magic wand?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. I guess I would start by saying, take the time to educate yourselves on what a national forest is and what the components of it are. I think we as an agency have great websites, you know, just chock full of information and opportunities locally and nationally for people to understand the small and the large of what a national forest is. So that would be my first ask, is just take the time to understand where it is you're visiting. I think so often we're just confused with the National Park Service, you know, and with state parks and things like that. And so building an understanding of that, because we are a little bit unique in how we manage landscapes. You know, there's a little more multiple use, you know, on a national forest than there is in a park. So that would be my first ask. And then my second ask is look for volunteer opportunities, because there's so many great groups out there that are working alongside us to help us in the work that we do, not just in the implementation and the physical labor of trail construction or, you know, a trash cleanup day. There's always so many great opportunities there, but there's also opportunities for us to learn from the public, you know, as they're coming and volunteering and participating in activities. So I would ask people to watch for those opportunities and engage in your backyard where you can, or someplace a little further away from your backyard, because there's some great people that come together to make this successful. And it takes all of us, you know, doing that work to really do it in a way that resonates with everyone.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I'm so grateful. So good luck with everything you do and with the enormous agenda that you have to address. And now back over to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, oh my gosh, thank you both so much. That was just very informative. And I was struck by the challenges that we face in conservation. There's a lot of overlap with the challenges that you're facing, Debbie, at Santa Fe National Forest. The need to work collectively, collaboratively, you know, looking at entire ecosystems, and definitely working with the public to, you know, figure out how to connect them to nature and help them develop a true love for it to help you in your work to do what you do. So it was inspiring, and I look forward to, you know, working with you in the future. And I can't thank you enough for making the time to talk to us tonight. And same to you, Bill. Thank you so much for your really great questions that I think, really illuminated so much about the realities of leading the Santa Fe National Forests. So thank you all again, and good night.
Thank you.
My goodness, thank you all so much for this wonderful show of support for our work tonight. We are so, so grateful. Be sure, if you have other friends that wish that they had seen it tonight, it's going to be available on our website for another week, and there's still the opportunity to donate if you didn't get a chance to do it tonight. So thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate that you all stood up for nature. Thank you, and good night.
Hi there, my name is Dorothy Massey. I'm the owner of the Collected Works bookstore, now in its 46th year in Santa Fe. And I am proud to support and to encourage you to support the Santa Fe Conservation Trust, entering its 28th year in keeping our conservation work going in the city of Santa Fe and outreaches, and giving us all access to nature here right in our own backyard. Please join me, please support them. It's a wonderful organization doing great work, and they need your help. Thank you so much.
Hola mi gente, I'm Renee Villarreal, Councilwoman for District 1 in our querida Santa Fe, and I'm standing up for nature because I believe we are inextricably linked to Mama Nature, and when we take care of her, she will take care of us.
Hi, this is Glenn Schiffbauer. I'm the Executive Director for the Santa Fe Green Chamber of Commerce. Like most of you, I spend a lot of time in an office or even pent up in a car like you see before you. So I want to thank the Santa Fe Conservation Trust for giving us the opportunity to be out in nature like this on such beautiful trails. So thank you, Santa Fe Conservation Trust, and Lucy thanks you too.
Stand up for nature with the Santa Fe County Conservation Trust. We here at Reunity Resources are doing our part to help support community and give back to this beautiful land that sustains all of us. Thank you, Santa Fe County Conservation Trust, for all that you do. Go get them!
Hey, this is Steve McCormick along the Santa Fe River, and I just want to give a shout out to the Santa Fe Conservation Trust for getting the goat heads out of here. It was full of goat heads, and I bumped into my friend Tim the other day, and he got a start on it, but then I guess they followed up with a crew. So thank you, Santa Fe Conservation Trust.
Hi, my name is Sue Perry, and my husband and I love nature, which is why we are great supporters of the Santa Fe Conservation Trust. They build trails for us to use, they conserve land, and they sponsor programs like Vominos Walks, where we try to get people in the community out on walks throughout different trails that are available to see what's available, including many which are very much accessible to people that are mobility impaired. So join us in finding ways to support the Santa Fe Conservation Trust and making all lands in the Santa Fe area available to everyone.
Thank you, Santa Fe Conservation Trust, for all of your stewardship of our natural resources and making land access as easy as possible.
The Santa Fe Conservation Trust does a great job of protecting our natural resources. So let's
stand up for nature and the amazing Santa Fe Conservation Trust.
We want to thank everybody that works on these trails that we're able to enjoy, especially during the pandemic. It's allowed us to maintain our sanity, and it was a great way and a great time to get outdoors and get away from all that was going on. So thank you very much for making that possible for us.
My name's Richard. I've lived in Santa Fe for 43 years and been a hiker for a while, and I think that the Santa Fe area hiking trails rival any place in the world. They're wonderful, but you know, we often don't appreciate the people who maintain them. Well, we really thank those people. They are the unsung heroes.